What's up, everybody? Welcome into Southeastern 14 bets and ball games with Edwards and excuse me, Greeson. We are recording here Friday morning, and let's start as always by telling you about our good friends at Bet Online. They are your top spot for all your live betting action and contest. NHL, NBA, UFC. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action, along with every sport available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to Bet Online today. And remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's all caps BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Alrighty, Jay Greeson joining us from Chattanooga. What's up, brother?
Not much, my man. Hope you are well. Hope everything's good down in the Sunshine State. We are good here in Chattanooga, and you can follow all my work at timesfreepress.com. And had a pretty good week betting. How about you?
I did until last night. In fact, I was on a 4-0 NBA run going into 2 nights ago. I had the over and the Pacers, and so I split because the Pacers did not cover. But last night I got beat up. I had Boston's team total over, loser, and I had OKC, loser. So not good last night, but I know you had been slumping. You've rallied a little bit. Tell us about it.
A little bit. Last night was a bit of a speed bump, but we had a good run earlier in the week. It is, hey, it's not investments, it's gambling. So take it with you. Hey, as best you can do, all you can do is all you can do.
This is true. So today it's going to be our Alabama preview with the football. But before we get to the Tide, we're going to go over, there's been some, since we spoke last Friday, there have been some more developments in the portal. And later on, I'll have a couple of UFC picks. And I'll go ahead and tell you what I like in NBA tonight. I'm going to stick with this over theme with the Pacers and Knicks. Do you want to share any NBA for tonight, or what did you do anything last night on NBA, or did you have one of those piss poor picks like I had in the NBA last night?
Well, I actually was on the Knicks last night, and we all know how that turned out. So all you can do is a guy who offers projections and picks is be transparent, win or lose. Otherwise, you're a fraud. But
absolutely,
when did Jalen Brunson become like a top 10 NBA player?
Top 5, top 1 in these playoffs.
I mean, holy buckets, man! Dude gets buckets. Dude is who the Hawks hoped Trae Young could be.
100%. I mean, he has been the best player in the playoffs, no doubt about it. And even when he got banged up and missed like the last 3 minutes of the first quarter and all of the second quarter, his over under, because he had gone for, I think it was like 38, 41, 40, and 41. His over under for points the other night was 37.5. And he got to 29 there with like 5 or 6 minutes left. And I'm like, there's no way he's going to get over this after missing the entire second quarter. But he was kind of flirting with it.
Well, I mean, he's Jaden Daniels. I mean, you may not want to bet the over under, but you damn well never bet the under. I mean,
and he would have got it if he hadn't got banged up the other night. He would have definitely
100%, 100%.
I tell you
what, as we kick around SEC stuff, I think it's worth a visor tip to Charlie Condon, the University of Georgia slugger, who now has 34 dingers, which is the most in the altered bat era in college baseball since 2011. I mean, Pete Incaviglia hit like 7,000 home
Oklahoma
runs in
State.
85 for Oklahoma State. But he was swinging that like, you remember when we were kids and the one kid walked up there with that really huge, everybody else used the thin yellow wiffle ball bat, but then one kid would walk up there with that ginormous red wiffle ball bat and he'd hit the ball to the moon. That was Pete Incaviglia
Yes.
back in 85.
Oh no, I remember Rosenblatt Stadium. Yeah, he would hit moon shots.
It was
back
not a
then.
ping. It was not a ping
Go
off the
ahead.
bat. It was a boom. I mean, oh dear Lord, man. That Oklahoma State team, everybody had mustaches. Those guys looked like 32 years old.
Right. Right. I don't know if it's the weather here, but I'm having some StreamYard issues here. Okay, it seems to clear it up. All right, so yeah, let's get into, or what I was gonna say. Madison Square Garden fans have not had the Knicks in the playoffs much the last 20 years, but I tell you what, they have not gotten cheated on one game this year. That game the other night was straight fire. I don't know why Carlisle took Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell out. The game the other night was so exciting, and looking forward to another one. I think Indiana wins tonight, but I can't lay 7.5 points. So I'm just going to go with the over tonight. Any thoughts there? Or are you ready to go into some portal news?
Hey, let's go portal.
All right. So the big news is Cliff Amore, the former Rutgers center, going to Alabama. Just an absolutely perfect fit for the Crimson Tide. The one thing, well, they struggled overall on defense, obviously, last year, but they really struggled with, having a big dude to protect the rim. And he's so perfect for them offensively and defensively, because now he's one of the best shot blockers in the country, has been for the last 3 years. But he doesn't need touches offensively, which is great for them. He's just a perfect fit, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And as you said, the big name right now, and in my mind, there are two big names left in the conversation about what will shape college basketball, not only nationally, but assuredly in the SEC. If Mark Sears decides to come back, Alabama's not only top three, they may be number one in the country. With the addition of Amore, with the addition with Nelson coming back, with a great recruiting class, with the way Nate Oates pushes the tempo and the way they play, that's going to be a team that's going to be hard to handle. The other name for me is DJ Wagner. And I mean, he's visiting Arkansas apparently this weekend. Not only is he a legit 5-star premier player, but I saw him in person twice last year. That kid embraces guarding. So defensively, whether his shots are going or not, he is a headache defensively for your point guard, for your best player. He is quick enough to handle your one. He is big enough and athletic enough to handle your best player as long as it's not a center. So wherever DJ Wagner ends up, that's going to be, you got to add that into the recruiting haul of whatever anybody is going to add. And you have to believe he's headed to Arkansas. But, dear Lord, man, everybody would love to add that kid.
Yeah, no doubt. And we saw when he got hurt there, I want to say it was like early February, he missed 2 or 3 games. You saw Kentucky struggle, and you saw how much they missed him right away. So before we exit the Bama conversation, within 2 or 3 minutes of Alabama Amore announcing, I went to one of my accounts, and they had Alabama at 20-1, and I got down on the Crimson Tide. Now, I don't think that's available. I think it's more like 15 or 16-1. and Mark Sears, I did a little investigating, and you can read my article on majorwager.com about Amori, which also gets into the Sears conversation. So he's got till May 29th to pull out. And I went through
That's what
about
she said.
8 mock. Go ahead.
That's
Right.
what she said.
Right. Yes, that is what she said. I went through like 8 mock drafts, and only one of them had him getting drafted. Now, he is at the NBA Combine starting on the 12th, so that would be Sunday for a week. Maybe he tears it up there and can elevate his stock. But if we're going by these mock drafts, I'm supremely confident he'll be returning. And so my point is, if he comes back, that 15 or 16 to 1 on Bama is not going to be available. I would think it will go down to about 12 to 1. So if you agree, you might want to get Bama now because when Sears comes back, that number will not be as generous.
Who
other
in Bama is on your short list? Who on? I mean, yeah,
Kansas.
UConn's been a heavyweight. We know Kansas has added pieces. We know that
Baylor
Duke's got a great recruiting class coming in, but if Sears comes back, nobody's better than what Alabama is going to put out on the floor.
I agree with you. I mean, that's yeah. No, I'm with you.
I'm so fusing this type of Alabama praise is going to make my left arm break out in a rash. And that's fine. But truth be told, that team is not only supremely talented, they are now layers deep. I mean, I don't know who's got anything. I mean,
they're 13 deep. They are 13 deep right now.
Hey, if you can, I completely agree with you because I don't see Sears being a draftable commodity come summertime when the NBA draft rolls around. So I see him coming back because he'll make more money in NIL and jersey sales and whatever else in Tuscaloosa than he would playing in Europe or being a second-round pick who doesn't have a guaranteed deal. So if, Sears comes back 15 to 1, I love that. I love Bama.
I do too.
As a gambling pick. I hate Bama as an institution, but I love them as a pick with those kind of numbers to win it all.
Yeah, and they've got Sears surrounded by 3-point shooters. I mean, Wrightsell shot 44.7% from 3 last year. Chris Youngblood, who's coming in from USF, shot 41.6 from 3. The kid from Pepperdine, Houston Mallett, shot 41.5% from 3. I mean, ooh, buddy, they are gonna be nasty. Okay, Mike White in Georgia got a good commit. Tyron Lawrence, who had a bit of a disappointing season last year, but 2 years ago, boy, he ripped it up in February and March when Vandy had that outstanding late season run, and he'll have a lot more help at Georgia than he does at Vandy. So that's big. And before I throw it back to you, I'll also point out Riley Kugel, who was also a pretty big disappointment for the Gators this past year, but is supremely talented. He has decommitted from Kansas because they've got so many studs. And now he's reopened his recruitment, so he's out there for SEC teams. But whatever you might want to say about Georgia, I know you're liking what Mike White is getting done. And he's got 3 more roster spots available.
Well, it's one of those things that Mike White left Florida, and everybody was happy that he left. Georgia was happy with an improvement in their coaching staff. Florida, it just didn't work with Mike White in Gainesville. But what he's doing now, he has assembled a very talented and kind of impressive roster in Athens. And truth be told, man, if you are a college coach in Athens, Georgia, in any of the big three, baseball, basketball, football, the talent base in the state is so great. Basketball in inner city Atlanta is staggering. It is unbelievable. My last year at the Mary Daily Journal, you had already left when you and I had met. My last year at the Mary Daily Journal, Josh Smith, who was an NBA first rounder, who played 10 years in the league, he was second team all county. Second team.
Get out. Five players better than him?
Yes, 5 players better than him. Lon Kruger's boy, who went to Arizona State.
Kevin.
Morris Allman, who went to TCU and led the NCAA in scoring. Was
which high school did Kevin play for?
And then Josh Patrick Ewing's boy was at Marietta.
Went to Indiana.
Dude, we had kids everywhere. And
which high school did Kevin Kruger go to?
He went to Arizona State and then transferred when Lon got fired for the Hawks. I think he transferred back to Oklahoma when Lon was coaching there.
UNLV. Which high school did he go to?
Maybe.
Which high school?
He went to Walton.
That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. But here's the thing though, man. And don't even get started talking about baseball. Woo!
Oh yeah, it's good up there.
Oh big man. Time. But here's if Mike White gets this thing rolling, Georgia's going to be a mother.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got this big time 5-star kid coming in, and like I said, he's still got 3 roster spots, and unlike most Gators, I liked Mike White, and I mean I didn't think he was a great coach, but he didn't do a bad job at Florida. He was coming after Billy Donovan. I mean, we went to an Elite 8 with him, but yeah, so he's got some transfer. Got a Clemson transfer. He's got Lawrence now. I know he's in the mix along with Florida for the Michigan State point guard, A.J. Hoggard. I'll just to let everybody know, not that Lunardi is the end-all, be-all by any means, but he did he did release a way too early bracketology last week, and I'll just let you know where everybody stands. Bama is a 2 seed. That was before they got Amori. They will obviously be a 1 seed next time he updates it. Auburn a 3 seed. Texas a 4 seed. Tennessee a 4 seed, which I'm a little puzzled by as they're currently constructed, but I have no doubt that Barnes will add quality guys. A&M a 5 seed. Florida a 6 seed. Ole Miss a 7 seed. Kentucky an 8 seed. Mississippi Arkansas is going to get, I mean, they only have 7 players right now. They are going to, and when they get Wagner, I mean, that should bump them up to a 6 or a 7. And then they got other 2 teams that were in the cellar last year that are on the bubble with Lunardi. Mizzou, the first team out. Vandy, the last of the next 4 out. It's got Georgia out, but that was before they got Lawrence. And it's got Oklahoma and LSU out. Any thoughts there before we get into the Crimson Tide football?
Well, the most important thing you said was way too early. And because there's still a whole lot of things that are going to change and a whole lot of things that are going to matriculate. But I do not see Tennessee being a top 4 or 5 team in the SEC unless they add a couple of dudes over the summer, because this league is going to be salty. I would not trade Tennessee's roster for Georgia's, Florida's, Ole Miss, heck, Mississippi State. I mean, we're not even talking about Texas or the 2 Alabama schools who are going to be your prohibitive top 3 in the league. But I know Rick Barnes is really good at what he does. And I know Tennessee has had an expectation of success. Other than Zakai Ziegler, they ain't got a whole lot coming. Hey, Dalton Connect's not walking through that door. Bernard King's not walking through that door. I mean, they are about to go to a whole lot of gunfights with a switchblade.
Yeah, and the loss of Adu was really
Yes.
big. As for Texas, just to give you an idea, they've killed it in the portal. They got Tremont Mark, Arkansas's leading scorer. They got that stud guard from Indiana State, Julian Larry, and Indiana State's other big man, not a Vila with the knee pads and the rec specs,
Goggles. Yeah,
but Jason
he looked
Kent.
like he rode
Right,
his bike into the gym. Oh, here I come. Let's play. I'm surprised he didn't have like the helmet with the pads on it. I mean, God bless.
Right.
Hey. Everybody loves special needs kids.
That's right. And they also got Jordan Pope from Oregon State, who was their starting point guard, averaged 17.6 points per game. All righty, let's move to the Crimson Tide. And let me rip off the betting menu, and then we will discuss and go through their schedule. So our good friends at Bet Online have these numbers for year one of the Kalen DeBoer era. Bama plus 120 to make the CFP, 16-1 odds to win the CFP. Bet Online has two of their games of the year. Bama plus 5.5 at home to Georgia, plus 2.5 at LSU. Alabama has plus 650 odds to win the SEC championship game. Jalen Milroe has 14-1 odds to win the Heisman. Austin Mack, who is the transfer from Washington, redshirted last year, was a 4-star in the 2023 class, but was behind Penix last year. He came with DeBoer from Washington, and Mack has 90-1 odds. And Bet Online's season win total for Bama is 9.5, shaded to the under minus 140. If you think Alabama can get to 10-2 or better, you can get plus 110 odds. Now, that's the stuff from Bet Online. What we also have some other games of the year from DraftKings that I will mention. Minus 7.5 at Wisconsin. Their number for Georgia is plus 4.5. At Tennessee, Alabama minus 2. Minus 8.5 to Missouri. Plus 1 at LSU. Minus 1.5 at Oklahoma. And minus 15 at home in the Iron Bowl versus Auburn. All right. Any initial thoughts before we start diving into the schedule?
Well, I mean, if we're looking, I think the biggest conversation piece here has to be the absence of the aura. I mean, don't get me wrong. Alabama has done historic things. And since Saban got there in 2007, this has been unprecedented. Spurrier. Hey, I love Spurrier. I love Pat Dye. I love what Vince Dooley did in Athens. I love what Bear Bryant did through his career. Saban is the GOAT. Period. End of conversation. And exclamation point. I mean, I don't even know how much more emphatically I can say it. And I think not only does it impact what Alabama is within the locker room without Saban, it impacts the perception of every other team who now plays Alabama, who looks at them and says, well, they don't have Saban. I mean, they're just a football team now. They don't have Saban. They don't have the GOAT. So,
yeah. Missouri's going to strut in there thinking they're going to win outright.
Yeah, and you know what? he's left a shelf full of talent. I get that. There are dudes. I mean, Alabama just had 6 guys drafted in the first 80 picks of the NFL draft. Hey, they've got talent, and they're going to have talent. But without the perception of the straw hat, without the perception of that 5'4" little dictator, hey, Alabama doesn't scare anybody anymore. You know it?
And how are they going to handle when adversity strikes like it did with the loss to Texas last year? You know, I'm sure it was very reassuring for all the guys to, you know, hear Saban's voice. And, you know, he was pretty calm after that game. He knew when to get mad as hell and fire him up
rat
or
poison
pissed off at him.
Hey, he pushed all the right buttons because he's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. So he knew when to speak through the media to his fan base. He knew when to talk to his players through the media. He punched every button perfectly. And now, I mean, if you're a Bama fan, you better cross your fingers that Kalen DeBoer is ready for this.
And let me ask you this: I think that I don't know that they could have done any better with DeBoer. I mean, you get a young guy who has been nothing but successful everywhere he's been, every step of the ladder, and in year 2 at Washington, he gets them to the national title game. I mean, I think it was a great. I think Byrne did a great job.
But how much of that talent was his? I mean, you look at that first round was dotted with a whole lot of Washington players, and they were experienced players. Because I can say the same thing about what Auburn tried to do a handful of years ago with who's his britches from Boise State, who has been nothing but successful at every stop he'd ever been. I'll tell you who could have been better.
Who?
Kyle Whittingham. He's the best coach in college football in my mind.
The absolute uno. Now that Saban's out, I mean, not ahead of Kirby now.
No,
I mean, I know he's good.
Kirby's got a better resume, but
sure.
But you're not going to get Kirby out of Athens. I mean,
right.
I mean,
you're talking about who's gettable. Who was gettable?
So if you're going to go get somebody, go money whip Kyle Whittingham.
Oh, you would. I mean, he'd have gone to Bama in a heartbeat. Now I will point out the year before DeBoer got there, Washington did go 4-8. Now he did inherit some talent, but they go 11-2 in year 1, and then they get to the CFP title game. So that's pretty impressive. All right, so you got Milroe back. So they've got the number 2 recruiting class in the country. In terms of their transfer specific guys, they got the number 4 transfer specific guys. They got 13 transfers. In terms of the transfers, they have, 4 guys came with him from Washington, and 3 of those guys are 4-star transfers. They've got a 5-star transfer, but it's the guy that played for him last year and went to Iowa and then now has come back. So whatever. I mean, they already had him. Now they lost some guys to the portal. If we count the high school guys, or they have 5 5-stars coming in from high school. So that is, I mean, a lot of them were already signed on with Saban, and I think DeBoer added maybe 1 or 2, but they're loaded as always.
Yeah, no, they're extremely talented. They are off the charts in terms of, and one of the things, big picture, that if you're an Alabama fan, 1, God bless you. 2, The defensively in the front seven, or I guess six, since it looks like they're going to run the 3-3-5, their front defensively is experienced and salty. I mean, it's like 3 juniors, 2 seniors, almost all of them have redshirted, and a grad student. So you're talking about 21, 22-year-old dudes lining up playing, I mean, grown men comparatively to what you'll see a whole lot of in across the league in college football. And so yes, they lost. They had 6 dudes drafted in the top 80 picks, including Dallas Turner, including the Arnold kid at corner, including Kool-Aid. They lost some off the defense, but the defense is going to be stout. And Jalen Milroe is a guy. And I loved what you said last week about if you want to bet Georgia to win the national championship, I think this applies to Jalen Milroe. If you get better odds on Jalen Milroe to win the Heisman than you do on Alabama making the playoff or even Alabama winning the Natty, because if they're going to be in a place to do that, Jalen Milroe or Carson Beck or whomever else is going to have a monster year.
All right, let's jump into Alabama's schedule. What should be a couple of layups at home with Western Kentucky and USF. Then they go to Camp Randall in week 3. Might be a tricky game. We noted the -7.5 line for Alabama early. You know, it was kind of a rough first year for the Badgers under the new regime. I think Bama will win this game, but it'll be a pretty close game. Would you agree on that?
Well, I don't think it'll be a close game. Alabama's got too much speed. They've got too many skilled position dudes. I don't know how good Wisconsin's going to be. Wow, man, Luke Fickell.
Disappointing last
year. You had a whole lot of really good opportunities and you were the guy everybody wanted to hire, and then you went there. Woo! You best buckle up and make it figure it out. But no, Alabama. I 7.5 is that game will be closer to 10 by kickoff. It's kind of like what we talked about.
All right, then, so we
Georgia and Clemson, and how that's going to work out. I think it's going to be that number will grow exponentially between now and mid-September.
Yeah. And then both teams have open dates, both teams being Georgia and Alabama, before they meet at Bryant-Denny, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, ABC, September 28th. So I will say this, and we saw it in Atlanta last year. Since, I believe it was 2007, since Stafford threw that touchdown in overtime to beat Alabama at Bryant-Denny, since then they've played a bunch. And they were all enormous games, and Alabama's won all of them except for the one, the CFP in Indianapolis, when Jameson Williams got hurt, and Mechie was already hurt after, from the SEC game a month prior. Other than that, Georgia's 0-for against Bama. So Alabama's still the boss of Georgia is what I'm trying to say. We'll see if that'll be the case September 28th.
Georgia's going to wear them out like a cheap suit.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to call it a swing game for now. Jay likes Georgia in that spot. He also likes Bama -7.5 at Wisconsin. All right, at Vandy, we'll skip. South Carolina at home, we'll skip. Those are W's. So Um, 5-1 is what Jay has. I have 5-0. I'll come back to Georgia. All right, third Saturday in October at Tennessee. Tennessee led in the first half last year. They got the win at Neyland 2 years ago. What do you think about this one?
I actually think Tennessee runs all over them. I mean, I think Nico, the quarterback, is a dude, and he showed it in the bowl game. I think Tennessee and Josh Heupel have replenished a whole lot of places. They did not lose as much as Alabama did, and I know Alabama is still going to have layers of talent, but is Alabama ready without Nick Saban to be everybody's Super Bowl like they have been over the last 10 years with Kalen DeBoer in here talking about, hey, let's win, let's process, yada, 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 because everybody is gonna throw haymakers at Bama. I think Tennessee wins this game, and I think it's a couple score game. I love this play.
Wow. All right. And hey, that okay, and we talked about how they're going to deal with adversity. That will be adversity. If they've got 2 losses, it's still October, and here comes Missouri, and Missouri is most likely going to be 6-1 or 7-0 coming to T-Town. Missouri, like Ole Miss, has got a very favorable schedule, so that'll be adversity. Home game to Missouri, and also Missouri might be pissed off because it's homecoming for Alabama. I still think Alabama gets this one, but it will not be easy.
It won't be easy, but Alabama's got more dudes. I mean, let's not go over the edge on the sky is completely falling on Alabama, because it's not. I mean, they've got 20 NFL guys in that locker room without question. And whether they're from freshmen to juniors to anybody in between, they still have dudes. But the biggest dude left the building, and he was 5'4" Nick Saban.
Is he really 5'4"?
If he's wearing heels. He's a wee fella. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's the GOAT, man. He's the best to ever do it. But he's a little person.
I know when you see the list of coaches on a roster, the players have their height and weight. There's not a height for Saban. So I was just wondering if you're spitballing.
The team picture looks like this. Here, Saban. I mean, hey, no, don't get me wrong. He's the best to ever do it. Best to ever do it.
Yeah.
I'm an Auburn grad.
But he's a wee. He's a wee guy.
He is the GOAT. He's just a wee person.
Right. Okay. So Jay has Bama at 6-2 going into the last stretch here. They get 2 weeks off to prepare for going to Baton Rouge. LSU also has an open date, so that's a wash at LSU with Nussmeier taking over. Your thoughts on that one?
I doing this in mid-May is, of course, trying to scratch a lottery ticket. I don't know what Nussmeier is going to be. Makes me feel like I'm watching Animal House. Niedermeyer! How's it feel to be an independent, Schoenstein? How's it feel to be an asshole, Niedermeyer? I mean, I can quote almost all of the Animal House movie. But I trust Alabama's talent more than I trust LSU's changeover. I mean, LSU lost some dudes now you're talking about 3 first-round skill position guys in the league. I mean, and granted, this will be closer to Thanksgiving than Labor Day, but if we're going to sit here and pick, I'll take Alabama's talent with Jalen Milroe coming back than I will over Nussmeier. And how do you feel to be an independent showing steam?
Yeah, I agree. I like Alabama in this game, and I'm concerned about LSU. They're only 42 in the 24/7 Sports composite. They're only 42 in the transfer specific class. They were in the top 3 or 4 in terms of transfer specific additions the previous 2 years. Why are they number 42 now? And we heard Kelly the other day talking about how they're not as much bidding on players. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. And yes, when Nussmeier's dad was at Florida calling the plays for McElwain, I did call him Needlemeyer often.
Well,
okay.
Now would be a fine time to just tip our visor to LSU and thank them for
all the overs last year.
All the things they have given us.
Yeah, and I was taking Jaden Daniels rushing prop every week and Neighbors' receiving prop. They did give us a lot of gifts last year. It was fantastic.
They really did. They really did. And we're not even talking about Olivia Dunn. I mean, they gave us a ton of gifts last year in terms of cashing checks and, I mean,
snapping necks.
The team over man, oh man, they were an ATM. LSU is ATM.
Yes, they were. They really were. All right, so Jay's got it. Bama at 7-2. Mercer's a W at Oklahoma. I'm not sold on Mr. Venables yet. We'll see. We'll see on Jackson Arnold. Sorry. We'll see on Jackson Arnold, the quarterback. But I got to go Bama at Oklahoma.
Completely agree with you in terms of talent. And you know what's kind of, if I'm a Boomer Sooner right now, I'm a little perplexed why Dylan Gabriel transferred in and then transferred out. I mean, he clearly saw something that, I mean, I'm not saying 21-year-old kids can make all the decisions in the world, but this is a guy who's going to be QB1 in a very high-profile program, and he said thanks, but no.
Yeah, I think he saw that, he was going to have to compete with Jackson Arnold, and he thought Oregon was going to be a better, he saw the numbers that Bo Nix was putting up, and he's like, you know what? Maybe I got a better path to to a CFP there. So,
all right, and can we really just take a moment and a deep breath that we're in the world that Bo Nix was the number 12 pick in the NFL draft? Holy bleep. 2.5 years ago, right? If you had said that, I would have said Bo Nix is going to be a great high school football coach at Pelham High in Alabama. And now he is the future for the Denver Broncos.
And Sean Payton's tenure rests on his right arm.
Yes. No. Yes, because he jettisoned Russell Wilson in what may work out to be the worst NFL trade in history, and sent him packing to bring in Bo Nix.
Yeah. We shall see. That'll be interesting. And Peyton is as arrogant and cocky as anybody in football, and he thinks he's. We'll see about all that. So Alabama beats Auburn. So Jay has Alabama going 10-2, and that would be an over plus 110. But like we said, this is way early. I don't think you're going to get off this show and go bet Alabama over 9.5 at plus 110, are you?
No, in a million years, no.
But for conversation purposes.
Hey, Alabama still has a world of talent, and they're going to. I tell you what, if we're going to talk about it in terms of gambling, I would fade Bama on every money line because they're going to be overvalued in my mind in almost every game, and every team is going to want to take their best swing. Do I think they beat Missouri? Yes. Do I think Missouri keeps it close? Yes. I mean, you look around in a whole lot of these games, with the exception of Wisconsin, who is not going to be able to run with Bama. You look at those first two games that you talked about, Western Kentucky and the other beatdown. I don't see those being the 52-point wins that they used to be. I think Oklahoma keeps it close, but I think Alabama wins because they got more talent. And I actually think Jalen Milroe, there are a lot of people sleeping on Jalen Milroe in terms of the Heisman conversation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, after he had that total dud against Texas, he was fantastic. Obviously, he sat out the USF game, but he was fantastic the rest of the way. And
the throw he made in Auburn is historic. I mean,
yes,
because everybody can talk about what Auburn did or did not do defensively and how they crap their pants, and all that is fair. Dude stood in the pocket and delivered a dime. I mean, on the money, on the mark, on time, all of it. It was a laser beam. And if you're not going to admit to that kind of skill set, I mean, if you've got that guy being QB1, you're ahead of the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, and I don't blame the Michigan game on him. I know he had that costly fumble, I think it was early fourth quarter. But, man, he was dealing with a lot of pressure and bad snaps like every single play. And, when you're dealing with a bad snap and you're worried about the pressure, that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to survey the field. So I give him a mulligan on that game. So I also have Alabama going 10-2. I'm going to say that they lose at LSU rather than at Tennessee, but also the Georgia game. And I think that Missouri game is a danger spot. I'm very high on Missouri, Luther Burden and company. All right, so we both lean to the over, but, this is a conversation in May. Neither one of us are going to play it. We'll probably do Ole Miss or Texas next week. Before we get out of here, you got anything on the Braves tonight? Any baseball?
I'm big on the Braves, but I'm bigger on the Dodgers. And the Dodgers right now are rolling people. And it is, honestly, it's if your kid was on a travel team and then he went and played a rec team, of course, your travel team's going to be better than the rec team. That's what the Dodgers are. The Dodgers are a Major League Baseball travel team. They spent $1 billion in the offseason. And now they're welcoming Walker Buehler back. And, what do you do? What do you do? The best player in Major League Baseball is a guy the Dodgers just paid $700 million, and I don't even know if he owns a glove. Shohei Ohtani is hitting – he's got like a 1.2 on-base slugging percentage thingy. I mean, he is a mother, and he's batting between Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. I mean, somewhere like Ruth and Gehrig are looking up and going, wow, that's a good lineup.
All right, so like I mentioned earlier, I like the Pacers and Knicks to go over 222.5 tonight. The reason why is the over's on an 11-2 run for the Pacers in its last 13. 10 of those overs have netted 232 combined points or more. And in the 5 head-to-head meetings between the Knicks and Pacers this year, combined scores of 266, 236, 238, 251, and there was one outlier being 214. But I like that game to go over tonight. I have no clue on Denver, Minnesota. Obviously, Nuggets are in desperation mode. Tomorrow, I like OKC to bounce back +3 at Dallas. And I don't know on Boston, Cleveland, as Boston's -8. That'll be a pass, or at least for now. That's a pass for me. As for the UFC tomorrow, so I really like my guy Robles D. Spain, who is making his second UFC appearance. And I can tell you that his last 4 fights, he has won it with first round knockouts in 37 combined seconds. That's all he's needed in his last 4 fights. Now, he is pretty expensive at -250, but you can put him in a parlay with the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. That should be about an even money parlay. I also like Terrence McKinney as a +140 underdog. And if you get to Spain, if you can find a prop for him to win in round 1, like he has done in all 5 of his professional fights, I like that, and I am searching for that right now, and I have found it. Yeah, -110 for him to win in round 1. That's my favorite play. Robles to Spain to win in round 1, -110. Any parting shots, Mr. Greeson?
You think anybody's going to ever call me the Black Beast?
No. No, I do not. And hey, my guy to Spain that I'm talking about, his nickname is the Big Boy.
Well,
the Big Boy.
A lot of people have called me that.
I'm going to send you some Black Beast highlights. You would like this guy.
No. This is my work computer. No. I don't need man-to-man emails with Black Beast highlights on my work email. I'm gonna get fired.
He'll be in the octagon, fully clothed.
No. We're out. Tell me where you can find us. Timesfreepress.com. Where are you?
Major Wager and at Vegas B. Edwards on Twitter. And we've done enough damage for today.
We have.
We'll talk to you next week. We are over and out.